All right, thanks, guys. Happy Saturday to you. We're coming off a 3-2 day on our Patreon picks for Friday. We also went 13-10 in our YouTube lean, so not crazy good, but still in the black there. But this 3-2 day on Patreon, that's actually going to put us at 26-15 in our last 41 Patreon plays. That's patreon.com/BrockPage. Link for those different packages are in the description section below. All right, let's go ahead and get into Saturday's Major League Baseball action. All starts Eastern Standard Time. And to kick this one off, we have the Red Sox taking on the Yankees. That is a first of a doubleheader here today. So the first game here is going to kick off at 1:05 Eastern first pitch. Now the Red Sox are minus 115, totals 9.5. We saw a 15-cent fade of the Red Sox in the early wagering. We also saw movement downward on the total. The Sox open $1.30 down to 115. Total open 10 down to 9.5. 61% are leaning Yankees, 56% shaded toward the over. Right now the Yankees are plus 105 on the money line. The Red Sox plus $1.35 on the run line. We have Chris Sale for the Red Sox, Domingo Germán for the Yankees. Germán's 13-2 with a 1.11 whip. He also has 107 strikeouts in just 97 innings pitched. Chris Sale on the other side, a little bit different story. It's certainly not the Sale of old. He's just 5-10 on the year, 4.26 ERA. The Yankees are second in scoring, first in hits, 7-2 in their last 9 at home. New York's first in the AL East, and they're actually 11.5 games ahead of Boston in that division. Now, the Red Sox really struggling, just picking a very bad time to get cold. Losers in their last 5 straight. They've also won just 4 out of their last dozen, taking on the Yankees. They're 23rd in runs allowed, 22nd in walks allowed. When it comes to the total, Boston is 7-1 to the over in their last 8. The Yankees are 10-2 to the over in their last dozen. Give me the New York Yankees plus 105 in the over, 9.5 in that matchup there. Next game, Brewers, Cubs, 2:20 Eastern first pitch at Wrigley Field in Chicago. The Cubs are minus 130, totals at 9. We saw a 15-cent fade of the Cubs and movement upward on the total. Chicago open $1.45 down to 130. Total open 8.5 up to 9 flat. 64% are leaning Chicago, 61% shaded toward the under. Right now, Milwaukee's plus 120 on the money line. The Cubbies are plus 155 on the run line. We have Gio Gonzalez for the Brewers, Cole Hamels for the Cubs. Hamels is 6-3 with a 2.98 ERA. He also has 97 strikeouts in just 99 innings pitched. Chicago, very good at Wrigley Field this year. 37-18 at home. They're also first in offensive walks at home as well. The Cubbies are first in the wild card standings in the National League right now. Now the Brewers on the other side, winners in just 24 out of 54 on the road. They've also dropped 4 out of their last 5 ball games. They are 24th in striking out, 20th in walks allowed. I'm going to lean Chicago Cubs minus 130 and the over 9 runs in that game. Next matchup, Marlins, Rays, 6-10 Tampa Bay. The Rays are minus 180, totals 8.5. We saw a 30-cent fade of Tampa Bay in the early wagering. They open 210 down to 180. Total open and remains at 8.5. 73% are leaning Tampa Bay, 76% shaded toward the under. Right now, Miami's plus 170 on the money line. Tampa Bay plus $1 on the run line. We have Eliezer Hernandez for the Marlins, Diego Castillo for the Rays. Castillo comes into this game with a 3.73 ERA and 47 strikeouts in just 41 innings. Hernandez on the other side for the Marlins, just 1-4 on the year, 4.93 ERA, 1.25 whip. The Marlins have the most losses in the National League, 65 of them. They're just 42-65 overall for the year, 23 games under 500. They've also won just 20 out of 50 games when traveling. The Rays on the other side, winners in 6 out of their last 7. They are 15 games over 500 at 63-48 overall for the year, and they are actually leading the American League in that second wildcard spot in the wild card race. So anyway, total-wise, the Marlins are 33-17 to the under when traveling. Expensive price point here. I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of scoring, so I'm going to lean Tampa Bay minus 180 and the under 8.5 in that matchup there. Next game, White Sox, Phillies. Hell of a game last night with 15 innings. And Vinny Velasquez with a fantastic effort for the Phillies in left field. But it was all for naught in a losing effort. Anyway, the Phils are minus 300 today. Total's at 9. And we saw a 50-cent move toward the Phillies in the early wagering. We also saw movement downward on the total. The Phils open 250 all the way up to minus 300. Total open 9.5 down to 9 flat. 74% are leaning Phillies, 58% shaded toward the over. Right now, the White Sox are plus 270 on the money line. The Phillies are minus 150 on the run line. We have Ross Detweiler for the White Sox, Aaron Nola for the Phils. Nola's 9-2 with a 3.72 ERA. He also has 153 strikeouts and just 135 innings pitched. Now, Detweiler on the other side for Chicago, 6.35 ERA and a 1.68 WHIP. The White Sox have dropped 8 out of their last 10 ball games. They've also won just 4 out of their last 16 when traveling. The White Sox are 13 games under 500 at just 47-60 overall for the year. The White Sox have also won just 20 out of 52 when traveling. Chicago's 29-49 as the underdog, 28th in scoring, 23rd in walks allowed. Now the Phillies on the other side, they're just one game back in that second wild card spot. They're 6-4 in their last 10. They're also 5th in home offensive walks. Now, total-wise, the Phillies are 8-4 to the under in their last dozen. The White Sox are 6-1 to the under in their last 7. I'm going to lean Philadelphia Phillies minus 1.5 and the under 9 runs in that game. Next matchup, Blue Jays, Orioles, 7:05 Baltimore. The Blue Jays are minus $1.15, totals at 10. We saw a 10-cent move toward Toronto and movement downward on the total. The Jays open $1.05 up to $1.15. Total open 10.5 down to 10 flat. 62% are leaning Blue Jays, 64% shaded toward the over. Right now, Baltimore is plus 105 on the money line. Toronto plus 125 on the run line. We have Thomas Pannone for the Blue Jays, Dylan Bundy for the Orioles. Bundy comes into this game with a 5-11 record, 5.24 ERA, and a 1.38 WHIP. Pannone on the other side for the Blue Jays, 47 strikeouts in just 49 innings pitched. Baltimore is tied for the most losses in Major League Baseball, 73 of them. They're just 36-73 overall for the year. Winners in just 15 out of 53 at home. Baltimore's ranking dead last in runs allowed and last in striking batters out at home. Now, total-wise, Toronto is 5-2 to the over in their last 7. Give me the Blue Jays minus 115 and the over 10 runs in that game. Next matchup, Red Sox, Yankees. And that's going to be the second of a doubleheader today, 7:05 Eastern first pitch in that second game. Now, the Yankees are the favorite in game 2. They're minus 140 with the total at 11. And we did see a nickel move toward the Yankees in the early wagering. We also saw movement downward on the total. The Yanks open $1.35 up to minus 140. Total open 11.5 down to 11 flat. It looks like we have 73% of the consensus on the Yankees, 75% shaded toward the over. Right now, Boston's plus 130 on the money line. The Yankees plus 130 on the run line. Looks like the Yankees are going to throw out Chad Green for that second game. That's the rumor. Looks like Boston's going to throw out Brian Johnson for that second game. I think that, I think Boston should keep this second matchup close. So basically in the first game, I took the underdog there, which was the Yankees. It looks like in this second game, I like the value here. Give me, in game 2 of the doubleheader, Boston plus 1.5 and the under 11 runs in that game. Next matchup, Mets, Pirates, 7:05 Pittsburgh. The Mets are minus 120, totals at 9. 70% are leaning Mets, 54% shaded toward the over. Right now, Pittsburgh's plus 110 on the money line. The Mets are plus 130 on the run line. We have Marcus Stroman for the Mets, Chris Archer for the Pirates. Archer's just 3-8 with a 5.58 ERA and a 1.44 WHIP. Marcus Stroman on the other side for the Mets, 2.96 ERA, 99 strikeouts. The Pirates, ice cold right now. Winners in just 2 out of their last 12. They've also covered just 21 out of 51 at home. And of course, when I refer to covering or the spread or ATS, all that good stuff, I'm referring to the run line. So once again, Pittsburgh covering just 21 out of their last 51 run lines at home. They are dead last in the NL Central, and they are 13 games under 500 at just 48-61 overall for the year. Now, one more thing about the Pirates. They rank 26th in runs allowed at home on average per game. Now, the Mets on the other side, 7-1 in their last 8, 4-1 in their last 5 taking on the Pirates. The Mets are 7th in striking batters out. Total-wise, Pittsburgh 80% to the over in their last 5, 35-16 to the over at PNC Park. Give me the Mets minus 120 in the over 9 runs in that matchup there. Next game, Angels, Indians, 7-10 Cleveland. The Indians are minus 160, totals 9.5, 15-cent fade of the Indians in the early wagering. Movement downward on the total as well. The Indians open $1.75 down to 160. Total open 10 down to 9.5. 57% are leaning Indians. 67% shaded toward the under. Right now, the Angels are plus 150 on the money line. The Indians plus $1.15 on the run line. We have Felix Pena for the Angels, Adam Plutko for the Indians. Plutko's 3-2 with a 1.15 WHIP. Felix Pena on the other side, 4.66 ERA for the Angels. The Indians are 14-5 in their last 17, 9-3 in their last dozen at Progressive Field. The Indians are first in that wild card, in the wild card standings. They are 4th in runs allowed, 4th in walks allowed. Now the Angels are just 1-13 in their last 14 ball games played in Cleveland. So of course that's a historical trend that goes back a couple of seasons. But just keep that in mind if you're into historical trends. The Angels have dropped 13 out of their last 14 in Cleveland. Now, the Angels are 26th in walks allowed, 4th in the AL West, 15 games back in that division. Total-wise, the Angels are 30-24 to the under away from home. Cleveland, 33-24 to the under at home. Give me the Indians minus 160 and the under 9.5 in that matchup there. Next game, Mariners, Astros, 7-10 Houston. The Astros are minus 195, totals at 10. 68% are leaning Astros, 51% shaded toward the over. Right now, the Mariners are plus 185 on the money line. Houston minus $1.10 on the run line. We have Marco Gonzalez for the Mariners, Aaron Sanchez for the Astros. Sanchez is 3-14 with a 6.07 ERA and a 1.69 WHIP. Newly acquired Aaron Sanchez, of course. Now, Marco Gonzalez on the other side for the Mariners, 12-8 on the year. The Mariners are 6-2 in their last 8 ball games. They're actually 28-26 against the spread when traveling. They are 8th in offensive walks and 8th in walks allowed. Now, Houston on the other side, 10-4 to the under in their last 14. I'm going to lean Seattle plus 1.5 and the under 10 runs in that game. Next matchup, Royals, Twins, 7-10 Minnesota. The Twins are minus 220, totals at 10. 71% are leaning Minnesota, 59% shaded toward the over. Right now, the Royals are plus 190 on the money line. The Twins are minus $1.15 on the run line. We have Danny Duffy for the Royals, Kyle Gibson for the Twins. Gibson's 10-4 on the year, 118 strikeouts, and just 116 innings pitched. Danny Duffy, 5-5 on the year for the Royals, 4.42 ERA, 1.37 WHIP. The Royals are 4th in the AL Central, 31 games under 500. Just 40-71 overall for the year. Winners in just 40 out of 111 ball games. Unbelievable. The Royals are also winners in just 17 out of 53 when traveling. The Twins on the other side, 3rd in scoring, 2nd in hits, 4th most wins in Major League Baseball. Now, total-wise, the Royals are 31-22 to the under when traveling. I'm going to lean Minnesota Twins minus 1.5 and the under 10 runs in that game.